Hi there. Welcome to Brewski with Banks. Today I have an incredible composer, arranger, band leader, and one of India's leading guitar players, a person who I collaborate quite a bit, Sanjay Divecha.
Hey, Gino.
Hey.
I'm happy to be here and be talking to you about music, life, and whatever else comes up. Huh?
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
How did music start in your life?
It seems like music was always around growing up, you know. It was a combination of a few things. The music that was being played at home. And that was a combination of a few things. Music that I heard on the radio. That was mainly film songs, Hindi film songs. And the music that was being played on the stereo at home. So that was music that my mom and dad listened to. That was mainly Hindustani music, some light classical stuff, and some Western classical stuff.
So this is like on LPs?
This was on LPs, yeah. And sometimes cassettes, but mainly LPs.
Right.
Yeah, vinyl. And the music that my older brother and sister were listening to, which was, the Western pop music of that time. So everything from Beatles to the Carpenters and the Bee Gees and Stevie Wonder to, all the rock stuff, The Who, Pink Floyd, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how... I think it first started by me wanting, just singing the tunes because there were catchy melodies and I could hear a melody and probably reproduce it,
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I think the seeds were sown at that time. And I think it was just all this incredible music that was inspiring, Yeah. So, that was really the starting point of what happened later, just being moved by the music. And actually, the earliest experience of me getting blown away by the music or being carried away by the music was when I was listening to an Indian classical musician, Bhimsen Joshi. I remember that very clearly because that was on a cassette and I heard it and it just, something happened. I couldn't... I was too young to really put words to what happened. But basically what happened was that the music carried me. It took me away. So those were the moments that kind of just... That's like the inspiration. All our musical heroes, music that we heard, that inspired us. And it was always about singing. I was never really playing guitar at that time.
Okay, so you're not playing an instrument.
No, I was not playing any
just
instrument.
Listening and enjoying.
I was just listening and enjoying and kind of mimicking with a cricket bat or a hockey stick, But no, I was not playing. Yeah.
So when did you start to get an instrument into your hands?
Yeah. The first instrument that I actually was exposed to was the harmonium. My grandfather had one and I used to go and spend a lot of time at my grandparents' house. And I used to love to just kind of play melodies on it, But my first formal training in music was a tabla lesson for one summer holiday. Mom and dad enrolled me in this Nikhil Ghosh
Right.
in Khar.
That's still there.
And so that was just a summer. And then when I was in 6th grade, I started to play sitar. So actually that was really the first stringed instrument that So I studied Hindustani music for a good 5 years.
Oh, wow.
But during that time, all the music that by then I was listening to, more rock, kind of rock and folk, Western folk music. And eventually the guitar came into my hand through a school friend of mine, and that was cool because then I could start playing all the music that I was listening to. It was all guitar music, all the rock stuff and even all the folk.
So like the American folk music and the British rock.
The American folk music, which means Simon and Garfunkel and James Taylor and the British bands like Jethro Tull and of course the Beatles, but all that I'm bands like America, bands like
Was like Deep Purple and
Cat
Zeppelin and all
Stevens,
around also.
and then the rock stuff, which was Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep, Wishbone Ash, this whole bunch of rock bands, American rock bands like Lynyrd Skynyrd, Rush.
Right. Wow.
So it was all guitar music,
Right.
So then the sitar was kind of forgotten about, and the guitar became the thing, the obsession.
Right. And you were not taking lessons on guitar.
No. Lessons were essentially anybody who could teach me anything.
So friends or friends of friends, yeah.
Friends who even could teach me a new chord, and books with tabs.
Right. So learning songs, more or less.
Learning, it was only songs,
Yeah.
and it was just singing. I had a book. I used to write down all the lyrics and try to work out chords from songs.
Right.
Whatever my ears at that time, not very developed,
Okay.
but full enthusiasm. So,
So not technical, not like doing guitar technique as per, just learning songs first.
No, it was only about singing songs and playing simple chords, and that was really my roots actually. It was at least after about a year or so after I started playing guitar that I even attempted to play single notes,
Oh, okay.
And I remember it wasn't that easy as I thought it was. I thought that I could play. I was fascinated by drums and bass. Drums I tried and it was too hard. I just couldn't.
The coordination.
Didn't have the patience. Bass too, and bass. I mean, even now, it's for me. It's like I'm always drawn towards it. I write a lot of bass lines in so many tunes, and but I quickly realized that I was not playing I was trying to play bass like a guitar player at that time, and no, I kind of I stuck to guitar. So I'm just learning from the music that you were listening to, and learning from other people. And I mean, when I look back, actually, most of the learning that happened, even though I had a formal training, actually all the learning, the real learning happened just from people who knew things that I didn't about music,
So you were just playing by yourself? Were you playing with people?
No, I was really kind of lucky that around me there were all these friends of mine who also played guitar. So I was always hanging out, and I was always trying to find someone who had the time to just hang and play. It was that thing about playing just by yourself and then playing with someone else. It was very apparent to me right from the beginning that was thrilling. And even the band thing, it kind of happened just quite soon actually, and that too in the neighborhood. There was a drummer and there was a somebody who we forced him to play bass, and so the first band was a trio, guitar, bass, and drums. And
so this was in the Juhu area only?
Yeah, that's where I grew up, in Juhu, and I have to say my mom and dad were really kind, because that drum kit and a couple of amps were permanently there in the living room, and those were really special days. I mean, really, all these things that we're talking about, they kind of really set the tone. All those initial seeds were sown there, and the thrill of just playing music with people. And I started kind of composing also at a very early age. There was always a desire to try to to do something original, to attempt to write something and compose something.
So that was with that trio.
Yeah, it started at that time, and the first gig that we played with that trio was in a place in Juhu. It's now, I think, maybe a Suksagar, but it used to be a place called Kitchen.
Okay.
And it was this eatery, and we played a gig there. And then we didn't even have a name, and then somebody was putting up a show in Rang Bhavan. I believe Hari Prasad ji and Zakir Bhai played after us or before us, I can't remember. But then we had to find the name of the band, and that was Crosswinds. By then it had become a quartet.
Okay.
And
who were the members of the band?
That band, the drummer his name is Kulin Giri. He lives in the States now. He didn't pursue music as a career. The bass player is Jayu Menon. He too also didn't pursue music as a career, but all in the neighborhood. And the second guitar player was Jeet Tahil, who's quite a famous author, actually, and a poet, and myself. So just singing.
So what is the material?
Covers.
Yeah, what is the material?
Everything from Pink Floyd to Dire Straits to some Frank Zappa to some simple Frank Zappa. Rock kind of things,
But that's interesting because like Zappa's not really mainstream, no?
No, but we were listening to it, and he was always a favorite for us. He cracked us up. And
did the audience knew like the Zappa material?
Some of it,
what was it like? I mean, like compared to today, those days playing like in a club.
No, club dates were not there. No, here
it was a restaurant.
It was either a restaurant, but mainly it was
venues.
Like what we call them rock shows,
Yeah.
And venues such as some of the auditoriums in Mumbai, or open air like Rang Bhavan, some college festivals like the Xavier's festivals, and festivals out of town in Baroda, Ahmedabad, Manipal, So the whole band used to get into a bus and schlepped it out. And the gear on the top, it was... but it was a time of, innocence, fearlessness also, and just a lot of fun. I mean, as a 18, 19-year-old kid, hanging out with your buddies and playing music together, and it was thrilling. I mean, and I didn't at that time even know that music could be a career. I mean, I knew it, but I guess I grew up in an environment where I thought I would be pursuing something else, like an academic career.
Okay.
And what actually happened was that it was the music that kind of chose me. I feel like that now, when I look back, because it was like almost like more than I chose music chose me, because things seemed to always be in place, opportunities, people who I met, and things like that. And
so there was no real plan. Things were just happening.
But then there came a time later where, of course, what was happening to me as a person playing music was pretty deep. And that kind of happened as we progress from these rock days things. Also, by then it was the late 70s, early 80s, and all the fusion music started to come out.
Right.
Weather Report and Billy Cobham and Shakti, Jean-Luc Ponty, John Scofield, all these amazing musicians. And I was drawn to it. At first, my ears I wasn't able to handle it. But something inside told me, like, just keep listening to the stuff, and slowly I kind of got into it, and then of course I found myself limited playing a rock thing, and I wanted to play this music, and I found myself, like I want to learn this stuff, Again, I was fortunate at that time to run into musicians. I have to mention some names. Ranjit
Yes.
Barut, and through him, Dinsha, Sanjana, Carl Peters. We all kind of got together, and that was like, for me, it was like going to grad school.
This was Ultimatum?
This was a band called Ultimatum, and we were playing some kind of heavy fusion music. I was the weakest link in the band, so I just ate it up. I just kind of hours and hours just playing music, several days a week.
Right. So you went from like rock tunes to like kind of playing complex
To playing
heads
complex
and solos.
heads and in complex time signatures and harmonic progressions that were completely new to me. I had not had any formal training, and I had not really listened to that kind of music. So my ears were not used to, they were not trained to hear those progressions. But it was thrilling. I mean, the music was, wow. I connect to this,
Yeah.
I couldn't really hack it though,
Okay.
So I did my best, whatever my abilities allowed me to. But it was a good place to be because, this is when I think all the changes happened, where I said, wow, this is, I can't let this go,
And it was original material, or also they covering like Weather Report and stuff?
No, that band was only original.
Okay.
All of us were eager and keen to play original material. And I kind of just was in that group, So I think, that's why I think being around the right people, really, when I look back, yes, I have had a formal training in music, but really all the learning has come just by hanging with the right musicians.
Yeah.
People who could guide me, who could inspire me, and teach me things that I wouldn't learn in necessarily sometimes in a formal environment, all the true lessons of music, playing the music and hanging with the people with the right attitude. This is just, the people who've come before us and who know more than us, they've always set an example for us to follow.
Right. So it's like an apprenticeship system.
Isn't
kinda.
it?
Yeah.
I think that's how music should be passed on, I think, it's interesting now because I find myself in a place where I'm now a little older than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
So I'm always keen to share, and I think it's a really important part of the process of to give back, to share with people and guide people in whatever way you can.
Because I think this system truly gives you the essence of why you're playing music and also the intent with which you play.
Yeah.
As opposed to just learning the notes and the techniques in a class. You don't really get the intent and why you're doing this.
Yeah.
But working with all the people who've been through the grind,
Yeah.
you're in the mix,
Yeah, and the intent aspect is will resonate in what you play, and will always resonate with the people who you're sharing it with. I found, Yeah. So musical community, I was fortunate enough to be around them, and that was like, I think, a turning point where the musical experiences started to get more and more and more intense, and so until then I thought I was going to pursue some other career.
Okay.
Partly because of the environment that I grew up in. Nobody's really been an artist at home, and it was kind of almost assumed that you'd pursue an academic career or some such thing. And then there was this one moment when by then I was 24, and it was a kind of a confusing time in my life, and because this was there in the back, but there were all these other responsibilities and expectations. But I listened to my heart, and I said, no, this is it. I have to. This is where I'm going to head, and then that was like a turning point in my life.
So then what did you do to kind of?
Yeah, so that kind of changed. There were some thoughts that came along with that. Number one was, I want to learn. I want to study. Because I found myself limited, and I wanted to change that.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn about harmony and things like that. At that time, that was my priority. So by then, I have to say that I had already started to work here in Mumbai, not just live that I was doing, but I started to do some studio work.
Ah, okay.
So at a very early point in my musical career, I was already fascinated by the whole production of music, and so I did some session work as a guitar player for some film sessions and things like that. I'd already done a jingle, and that was the time when sequencers and things like that had just started to come out. So all the doors here, had I wanted to stay back in India, they were all open. But I wanted to be in an environment that I felt would nurture me at that point in my life. So I knew I wanted to go to America. And at that time, it was a very naive kind of a decision, because I didn't really know anything about what it was. You know, I'd never been to America. But I somehow felt that that's where I need to be. And I knew I had to be in either New York or LA. Because at that time, all the vinyl, I used to read everything. Who played guitar, who played drums, who produced it, where was it recorded, you know. And everything was in LA or New York.
Yeah.
So that much we knew that, okay, that's where the center is.
Yeah.
So that was it. And then a couple of months later, I left with 2 bags and 2 guitars to start a new life. And I ended up being there for a long time, for 15 years. And it was, at that time, the best thing that, could happen to me. It was very exciting being in a cosmopolitan city such as LA. And it was, just learning to live a new life in a new country. And yes, eventually I went to music school, and I did 1 year at MI in 1988-89.
Okay.
It was a good time for the school.
Who were the faculty around that time?
Well, Scott Henderson was there. Gary Willis was there. Joe DiOrio was there. I mean, a lot of my heroes were already there. So, Robin,
They were teaching there.
Yeah, teaching full time.
Ooh, okay.
So it was great. And so for me, it was like relearning everything, or not relearning, at least looking at my instrument in a completely different way, because I had worked out whatever I had worked out. You find your head finds a way to look at the instrument and with whatever abilities you have. And then there was this formal training, so I had to kind of, but I was deep into it, and the school was 1 year. It came and finished like this, and life went on. And that's, because I lived there for a number of years, I eventually just became part of the musical fabric of that city. So I was lucky that I got a chance to play a variety of music.
Yeah.
It was also an amazing time, like the club scene, the world music scene at that time was thriving.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate and lucky enough to become part of that. I was part of many bands that played all kinds of music, from straight ahead jazz to funk stuff to music from Brazil, music from other Latin American countries, music from different parts of Africa.
Right.
Interacted with Persian musicians, because it's a cosmopolitan city. So you just kind of jazz gigs, whatever.
Right. The Big Potato was there at the
Big
time?
Potato was very much there. La Valley was very much there. Both places I played in many, many times and saw so many of my heroes perform.
Yeah.
So it was very stimulating place for me,
Yeah.
generally to live in and translate it into what I do in music as well.
So that really impacts you, right? If physically, when you're seeing these guys play, like as opposed to listening on a CD or a tape.
Huge impact. I mean, in terms of how stage presence, how you present yourself on stage, sound, right? I mean everything. Yeah. So these were invaluable lessons. I got a chance to see so much live music, and I got to play a lot of music. I mean, so those years, in terms of the musical journey, started very gradually because, well, I had to support myself with other day jobs, which lasted many years. But eventually, I started to play out more and more and more and expand my network more and more and more. I started to do session work, and slowly, eventually was able to, survive with music. So it was a long kind of thing. It didn't really matter to me. I had decided already that this is my path. And in any case, in a place like LA, where the cost of living is so high, it's tricky sometimes, to be able to survive with music. So, but eventually, I was able to give up all my day jobs.
Yeah.
And so it felt good when that eventually started. I mean, I remember very clearly actually the early days in LA when I started to play gigs and I started to actually make some money. I couldn't believe it because it had been like a dream, to kind of get there.
Yeah.
Like, so when that started to happen, I was like, okay, somebody is looking after me. I think I'm gonna, you're grateful.
Yeah.
You're grateful when that starts to happen.
And any interesting artists, prominent artists that you got to work with while you were there?
I did. I got to work with Chaka Khan. I got to work with Angelique Kidjo, who's a singer from Benin in West Africa. I got to work with Michael McDonald.
Oh, wow.
You know who he is, a keyboard player and
singer.
Amazing singer. I got to work with Dave Weckl, Steve Weingart. So many actually. Kevin Ricard, who's an amazing percussion player. Bill Brendel. I mean, some of these names, they may not be as known as others, but they were a big part of my journey.
Right.
Because I played good music with them and I was able to absorb and learn a lot of stuff from them. Hussein Jafri, who's an amazing bass player and now also a producer. Mm-hmm. And he's my buddy from music school. We went to MI together in the same year. We played a lot of music together.
And what are the name of the bands that you were playing with live?
One of them was called Dumas. It was like the leader of the band was Andre Manga. He's a bass player from Cameroon. And then there was another band called Samba Guru. Those were the two bands that I remember. Oh, there was another African band called Savoir. Those were the three I kind of remember. Then there were a lot of other musicians, like a lot of pickup gigs and things like that, that you play. But those were the ones. Oh, I played a gig with a famous Israeli singer-songwriter called Mati Kaspi. That was a really interesting gig, actually. Yeah, those are the ones I can kind of remember. There's probably some I don't remember.
Right.
Some of the most exciting gigs I did were, like, for example, I was subbing for a friend of mine. It was a gospel gig.
Oh.
So, with the choir and the whole thing. But these gigs, I mean, they were so enriching for me. I mean, when all the, like, with Markaba, what's that song that we have, right? Ready Now.
Yeah.
But, so all these experiences and listening to the music and playing all this music, it stayed with me.
Right, I was just going to say, because they're all diverse. So,
They're
for
so
example,
diverse.
like each band, probably the band leader or the composer was kind of, that's his bag, his or her bag. But you were experiencing all these bags with authentic people.
With authentic
So
people.
that fed into your playing,
That
right?
fed into my musicality.
Yeah.
Because it was, and even now, in fact, yes, I am a guitar player. That's my primary instrument. But I'm always trying to look at music as a whole
Right.
and where I fit in. But it's always about the music. It's never about just me.
Right.
And I think right from an early part of my musical upbringing, as a listener, I was always fascinated by, man, what's the bass player doing and what's the drums doing? Right from the start, like, okay, that's where the groove is, okay, and everything else is on top of that, okay. So I was always looking at music like that,
Yeah.
and even now it's still kind of like that, So yeah, so all those kind of diverse musical experiences that I got living in LA, they really they became part of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm really, really kind of grateful that happened.
That's great, because it shows in the kind of your repertoire of work, your releases and things. So that, which started happening, I think, once you kind of moved back.
Yeah, that's actually, you pointed it out very accurately. So it was almost like, so I came back to India, and that was by chance. It was also unplanned. Life kind of got me back here. And it kind of, the dimension changed.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing that I started to do was started to record. I always wanted to do the Indian thing.
Yeah.
Meaning use our heritage and culture. I was always attracted to it. I just had never found myself in a place where I was ready to do it. Mainly, probably because I was not hanging with Indian musicians, and I had not trained as an Indian musician thoroughly.
Yeah.
So I was a little hesitant to attempt that.
Right.
But when I came back, I immediately started to engage with the local Indian musicians.
Yeah.
Musicians whose training was, hardcore training was Indian, like Sridhar,
Yeah.
or like Chandana, or Nandini Srikar, or Ashwin Srinivasan, really, really good Indian musicians. And that's when I said, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to start, do something. And I started the process of writing music for Full Circle.
Mm-hmm.
And what came out, I was remarkable for me as a personal milestone. And that was it was for the first time in my life I found some identity as in a sound. That was me, I felt more than anything else that I had done.
Okay.
So that was a huge thing for me, so that kind of just began that journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a journey, I'm still learning and studying.
Yeah.
And trying to evolve that sound. But also what happened was that I found myself in a place, once I came back, was I had more time to really have that work and life balance.
Right.
And essentially dedicate more time towards my craft as a composer. So that's when I started to, and also as a guitar player, I found myself doing a bunch of trio gigs that really forced me to dig deep as a guitar player and improve my skill set. So moving to India was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
It's funny because, I had to go there at that time of my life, but then I came back here, and now I'm part of a musical community here. But I had to create all these projects because of all this music that
Yeah.
I'm inspired by, right?
Which is so Full Circle is an apt name for the album.
Yeah, Full Circle is an apt name. Then the jazz gig started, but then of course we did Merkaba.
Yeah.
I
And
remember
Secret.
clearly. Secret. Yeah. So Secret is an extension of that,
Full Circle.
the Indian thing.
Right.
Yeah. It's just that the Full Circle was recorded with many musicians. There was no, and then Secret was done as a band.
Right.
But it's an extension of that
Okay.
chapter. But then all this rock thing and all this R&B thing,
Blues,
and
gospel,
all of that,
yeah.
right? And then we met Vasu,
Yeah.
and then this band was formed. But at least now we know where all this is coming from because of what we spoke about,
Yeah.
right? So those things were kind of just there, you know. And I had actually stayed away from doing anything like that because I don't know, maybe I thought it would come a little easier, and it did actually. That music came, it was there because those were my roots, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all the other stuff also came out, the harmonically sophisticated stuff, because by then my harmonic
Yeah.
things were also, my ears started to hear more things.
Yeah.
Tal,
Tal
we did,
Link
right?
too. Yeah.
All the homework was all done in LA,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
because-
So it's like kind of
Yeah.
replicating what experiences you had there musically,
Yeah.
which kind of
Yeah. So it's interesting though, because it's one thing to be inspired and learn something, digest it, and then it's another thing to be able to then use that in an interesting way, in a composition or in an arrangement. That's really cool. I dig that, you know. And some of the stuff, you know, we Indianized as well. So then that gave it a certain flavor and color that stood out.
yeah, which is a rare combo though. You don't normally see African Indian music kind of coming together, right?
Yeah, but if you remember, we had said that why would we do something that's only African?
Right.
How will it?
When we're all from India.
Yeah. So that philosophy actually has been kind of with me for a while, in that to try to make the music personal in some way, so that your personality or your heritage or where you're coming from, not in a forced way, but the need to do something that is personal.
Right.
There's only one Alan Holdsworth and there's only one Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
And I'd rather just hear Alan Holdsworth and Jimi Hendrix because, you know, I'm not interested in hearing clones, you know. I'm more interested in hearing someone's personal journey. So that philosophy of trying to write music but also kind of make it personable, you
Right.
know, so that your story's there.
Yeah. So in the sense that like Merkaba has a particular vibe. It's groove based, it's blues, it's funk, little rock.
Yeah.
But there's a flavor of where you're coming from also, kind of in the arrangements, in the improvisations and things like that.
Yeah. So improv has always been a big part of our music, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, I like music that gives space to expand,
Yeah.
you know, to play
Yeah,
solo.
yeah.
And I think both in at least the rock music that I grew up listening to, there were extended solos. And then as a lover of jazz music as well,
And Indian classical.
and Indian classical as well. So it's a very exciting part of music for me.
Yeah. Which is interesting to come to how the Crosscurrents thing happened.
Well, the Crosscurrents things happened thanks to Sakar Bhai, but I have to mention, because it's just such a interesting story, my first interaction with Zakir Bhai as a as a musician who I played with, and that happened thanks to Shankar. Actually, Shankar Mahadevan. He called me for a gig, and as a guest artist, and it was him and Zakir Bhai, and there was no rehearsal. I asked him, "Are we going to rehearse?" And the answer was, "We'll figure it out at sound check." Heard that before?
Yeah.
So, to make a long story short, the rehearsal never happened at sound check because everything was running late.
Yeah.
And I had picked one of my tunes. What is it called? You know that tune? I'll get it. Anyway, I didn't have a chance to really show him, but I kind of assumed that he might know the form of a 12-bar blues, which of course he did. And anyway, we played the song, and he kind of made it sound like he knew the tune.
Was it Adalat?
Adalat, yeah. And he made it exciting, and that was my first interaction with him. And post that, he called me for a few other gigs, and the Crosscurrents thing, there was somebody else on the gig originally, and it didn't work out. And then Zakir Bhai called me. I remember that phone call very well, actually, asking me if I would want to be doing this gig, and we already knew about this gig that was happening because he had spoken about it, that he was going to get Louis and Shankar and put them together with Dave and Vinny and all these. So I kind of knew about it. So obviously I was extremely excited. And so that's the first, I think it was 2015 maybe.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely amazing. I mean, we played high quality music with high quality musicians, and
to packed audiences.
In some of the best theaters in America. So, and that tour went off well, and then there were two more that followed that you were part of, actually.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
It was incredible.
Wasn't it?
It was surreal. I took a whole tour to
Settle
get
down.
it. So the second tour was a lot better for me, though.
Yeah. On the first tour, I didn't sleep really. There was just so much excitement and adrenaline that I hardly slept, actually. Those were incredible learning moments, just to see how professionals like that, and it was not just Zakir Bhai, but, Dave, Chris, and Louis.
Yeah.
Shankar, I mean everyone.
Yeah.
Just how they are, not just the musical part, but everything else around it.
Traveling together
and all of that. So, yeah, it was certainly one of the highlight kind of moments. And I was lucky and fortunate that I got a chance to present some tunes as well.
Right.
I got a chance to. I think I presented a couple of tunes of mine, and
we played Solace.
We played
Chamber
Solace.
Funk too.
We played Chamber Funk, and we that Rama Rama, which was
right.
I helped arrange that, and so I felt very vested and very fortunate that I got a chance to contribute, not just as a player but also as an arranger composer.
Yeah.
So that was. It was very fulfilling, yeah.
Yeah, wild ride that was.
And the tours that followed just became even more exciting, right?
Yeah.
They were longer also. The first one was relatively short. And apart from those first 4 gigs that we had drummers on, the rest was just him.
Right.
And obviously, immediately we realized, we missed the drums now.
Yeah.
We need drums, and he was quick to we were all very happy when actually you got the gig.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you knew most of the stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was
it was interesting because it was kind of a mentorship for me also.
Yeah.
with everybody there, because I
Yeah.
worked with everybody independently, but like together. And then, small responsibilities of like
Making the set list.
making the set list every night, moving things around. Oh, we're playing shorter set. What do we throw out? And also
Yeah.
like food. What are we going to eat? Those kinds of things. And also, yeah, with Benny and Mujib, going for early sound checks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were saying Secret is kind of an extension of Full Circle.
Yeah. Secret. And really, actually, that journey that began with Full Circle. Full Circle was recorded with a variety of people, lyricists, singers, and various other musicians. Eventually, I formed a band I was hearing as an evolution of that sound. I was starting to hear a sound that was more acoustic. The sound of a nylon string guitar with a cajon, because I love flamenco music so much. And also I wanted to hear music that was a little bit more minimal. Although that's not what happened, but this is what I was trying to hear in my head. And I formed a band, which at first was with Sanket on percussion, Sanket Naik, Chandana Bala on vocals, and Sonu Sangameshwaram on bass, and myself. And that's where that kind of was the seed of all the new music that I was writing.
Right.
Eventually, that band expanded. We got another singer because I wanted to, all this. I wanted to hear vocal harmonies, So we got a male singer, Raman Mahadevan. Once we started to record the music, it was essential that we needed a keyboard player. So there was keyboards in the band, and now we have a second percussion player and we have a violin player. So it's an 8-piece band.
Right.
But Secret really to me was actually, as a composer, it was a coming together of everything.
Right.
Everything for me. It was, again, it started with Full Circle, and then the band Secret and the material that Secret was playing. But really for me, it was a coming together of my influences of folk, maybe not rock so much, because the rock thing has to do with a certain sound as well.
Yeah.
But Africa thing, the Brazil thing, and most of all the Indian thing.
Right.
Indian classical folk traditions, the languages of India. So it's the most personal thing that for me. And also I feel it's, in terms of a sound, it's the most personal thing that I've done. So for me, it's a big deal, the music of Secret. Very, very satisfying. The band just seems to be getting bigger.
Yeah. I remember we used to talk about it's difficult to tour with a big band.
Yeah, and at some point in time, I have to figure out a way to make the band smaller and presenting the music in a smaller way. That shouldn't be a problem. That's never been an issue, because I think the core is always good music. If you have good music, you can dress it in any way you want.
That's true.
Big or small,
Right.
But yes, Secret is certainly one of the projects that I feel brings together many, many, many influences of my past,
Yeah.
But most of all, influences of Hindustani music, Carnatic music, things like that.
Mm-hmm. The languages.
And the languages as well, yeah. I mean, when I came back to India, I was... Sometimes these things happen, it takes for you to go away, far away, to see things that were very near you, that you somehow didn't appreciate it as much as when when it's not with you.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me more. I always loved Hindustani music. Carnatic music, growing up, I was not exposed to as much. But I was eventually, and I loved it. And I got fascinated by it. Not only because, I'm Indian, and no, it was not that. It was, I got turned on by the music, and I wanted to. So I did study for a while. I studied with a Hindustani vocalist in Bangalore. And I also studied a little bit of Konakol,
Okay.
But mainly, again, I was always bouncing off all these other musicians whose main tayari was that.
Yeah.
So I was always asking them to show me things, and or sometimes, taking a traditional composition and making an arrangement of it, things like that. So we're blessed here. There's a treasure of all these incredible musicians who we can be inspired from and learn from.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much always on study mode kind of thing as a musician.
I think that's throughout. It'll never end. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn some new song, or work on something new, concept or something like that. Yeah, that's what kind of, I guess, keeps us sounding, that we can sound interesting to ourselves by increasing our vocab.
Yeah, it's a different headspace, right? Because there's also that side to things where somebody writes a hit song, and the curse of writing a hit song is you have to play that song exactly the same way every single time, which can get boring.
As a pop artist,
it can get boring.
Yeah.
But when you're playing kind of more creative music where you have improvisation involved, and arrangements can stretch and change, that keeps you interested and kind of still excited about playing the same music.
Keeps it fresh. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, if you're a pop artist, then you have a certain function and a certain role, but seems like I'm always attracted to the music that has a little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
In terms of how you interpret it. Still keep the form and all of that, but have the freedom to, be a little flexible.
Yeah. It's sad that, pop is kind of considered a kind of music where pop is kind of short for popular. Anything can get popular, right?
It can.
Yeah. Like Mozart is popular, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's interesting
that if someone is exposed to something over and over again, slowly they'll get into the head.
Yeah, and for them that's popular material, right?
Yeah,
interesting, because people kind of view pop as like dumbed down music, or heavily marketed music, or kind of factory made material for a particular purpose. Whereas I feel that anything that gets popular is kind of considered pop.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
But we are put into these things of jazz and fusion and rock and.
Yeah, I'm extremely, actually, it's interesting that you brought that up, because so I have a certain reputation in this country here as a jazz guitar player. And I accept it graciously.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm not comfortable with being labeled and being put in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And as we spoke earlier in this conversation, my influences are, jazz was something that came into my life. And I love the music, and it really helped me develop my harmonic vocabulary, and I love the improv thing. I love the freedom of jazz. But I'm not the kind of person who likes to be labeled and be put into one thing. It's just not me. As an artist, though, you're never in control of how someone is going to perceive you as, and so you just let it go.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about this, I just consider myself a musician, period.
Yeah.
Joe Zawinul called himself a folk musician. Probably because that was the music he connected with.
The African
folk cultures,
yeah.
folk cultures from all over the world. In many ways, I feel the same way too. But I'm a product of so many things, I also understand the need when you are performing or when you need to let people know about when you're presenting something that it needs to be labeled in a certain way.
Right.
But in my personal thing, I don't really. It's all it just comes, whatever comes.
Yeah.
Unless you're commissioned to write a piece of music for someone else, and it comes with a brief, and then you work within that brief.
Yeah, yeah.
But personally, though, when I'm writing and composing, it's just a feeling, and then whatever comes to evoke that feeling, whatever feels right, is right.
Correct.
That's it. There's no other, criteria.
Yeah.
So whether it's a rock influenced thing or jazz influenced thing or music from some African thing or Brazilian thing or some Indian rhythmic concept or melodic concept from a rag or something. It doesn't really, it's just, I think we live in an age where we all listen to so much different music, and for people who love all music, it just becomes one, but you're never in, how someone else is going to perceive that music and feel the need to label it. That's I don't think about that too much now.
Right.
It's just music.
Yeah. So we have, of course, the Secret Band, the Markaba Project,
Yeah.
Talink and Friends.
Yeah.
Of course, the
Trio-
jazz stuff, trio,
trio
quartet,
thing,
things,
yeah.
And now you have just released a solo album.
Yes.
Kind of like an acoustic guitar.
Yeah. So I released Leela in June, 1st of June actually. And this was something that I had been wanting to, it was on the cards because I always had this solo, guitar. As I progressed in my journey as a guitar player, and I developed the skills to perform things solo, playing chordal stuff, playing lines, and I used to play some solo stuff at secret concerts and started with some solo things, and finally, gathered the courage to, I had this repertoire, so I gathered the courage to say, okay, I should just do it.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be something very, very fulfilling. As I started to record it, it turned out I did add a few layers, and on some songs, some guests.
Yeah.
But mainly it's just me. And I'm really actually extremely happy with the way the sonic thing, the way it's turned out. And then I've been performing solo guitar concerts. That's kind of really, after I heard the music as a listener, I believed in it even more.
Right.
Sometimes, you do question.
Because you're too close to it, no? You don't see the
Yeah.
forest from the trees, as they say, no?
Yeah. So I started to play these concerts live, and it's been amazing. I mean, to be just alone on stage and present all this music, that's and I'm finding newer ways to present it, taking more chances, try to play something new on every tune. Something, that's a little different, So pushing myself. So it's really been actually very satisfying,
Did you play this material when you did your solo gig at Prithvi?
Some of it.
Before you recorded that?
Some of it.
Yeah.
Some of it. It's come a long way since then, though, because I recorded the album. By performing it more, I've learned how to present it better. So much of this stuff is, just doing it more and more
Yeah.
and learning how to play better, how to present the music
Yeah.
and better. A lot of things about your technique, your sound, the consistency of sound, and sometimes forms as well. Certain things in a recorded context might sound good. Certain things in a live context, maybe you want to tweak it a little bit
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
So you'll just learn as you go about doing it.
Right.
Opportunity, man.
Yeah.
That's like, which is why I said what I said in the beginning. I really feel like music chose me, because at so many stages of my life, I was lucky enough to be part of a scene, and absorb and learn.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Without platforms, it becomes a little difficult. You can play at home and you can take it to a certain level, but the whole thing about presenting it and sharing it with people is a different thing.
Yeah.
And as you get a chance to play music with people, as you get a chance to present your music, you just you learn from the experience. Sometimes you go back home and work on something,
Yeah.
and come back
Yeah.
and do it better.
Yeah. So at the core of all this music you're writing, and especially with the solo show, at the core, from what you're saying, is it's got the ideologies of the improvisational side of jazz and Indian classical music, because you're interpreting it a little different
Yeah.
every time. Your solos obviously are different.
Yeah.
There
are in the solo thing, there are few things that are set pieces,
Mm-hmm.
but then there is other pieces where there's space for me to do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the Merkaba or the Tal music, which is
Those are heavily
some of
arranged
those
songs.
they're orchestrated music. That's
Yeah.
music, right? So there are certain parts that kind of all gel with each other. So your function is different for all of us, to play it. But then within that, we'll still find a few things. The solos obviously are open. So it just depends on the music and how much leeway, what spaces you have in the music to be a little bit more free. With the Merkaba things, as a guitar player, I'm playing the same part, but I'm doing something different.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the way we recorded it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something is, it's a general vibe,
Mm-hmm.
similar notes, but sometimes just a
Yeah.
few things,
Yeah.
just to keep it fresh and exciting
Yeah.
for me.
And also, like, where you're playing, the room, the sound, it'll influence how you're
Yeah.
interpreting everything.
Vasu too, right? When
Yeah.
she sings the melody, she has this amazing ability to be quite free with the way she interprets. I have to say that we were really lucky, I think, to come across these situations, because that band without a strong singer, and not just a singer, but a singer like Vasu, and someone who could write these incredible lyric and kind of sing pretty much anything I throw at her, which
Yeah.
is kind of like wow. And the fact that Varun came with all these songs, and we got an opportunity. It's that, right?
Yeah.
It's the opportunity. If he had not come with these songs, that we would not have a chance to work on this music, right? So when all these things kind of happen, I really where did this come from? You're attracting all this energy and all these things that come to you, that give you a chance to dig down and apply yourself in a certain way and make something beautiful out of it,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't take it for granted. I really feel like this is a huge blessing.
Yeah.
That these opportunities have come our way to make something of this, to write all this music, to compose all this music, and play it and have fun playing it. And I'm always looking for that. Like new singers or new musicians who, if there's ever an opportunity that I can be of help to anybody, so I can learn.
Yeah.
It's I'm constantly learning things by teaching youngsters, and sometimes students. I mean, like they say something to me, and I'm like, I'd never thought of that actually. And it's really interesting actually for me. Or a student of mine presented me this new tuning. I'd never even come across it.
Right.
Not only did I use that information, I recorded a tune on the new album with it.
There you go.
So I'm always trying to I'm like a sponge to try to kind of absorb things from people,
And you're teaching quite a bit, right?
Yeah, the teaching thing became a big thing in my life. About 10 years back, a thought came to my... It always starts with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thought was that I should share with whatever little I've been able to absorb. There's a lot of things I've been exposed to, and I also remembered how eager I was as a young musician to learn and just anything from anybody.
Yeah.
And I am sure that there must be so many other people who have the same desire. And as someone who's been playing music for a while, I felt it was only right that I share. So it started like that.
Right.
I never told anybody that I even teach. A week later, somebody called me and asked me and that's how it started.
Wow.
And I still I never advertise that I teach.
Right.
So it just, the universe kind of took care of it, and now it's become a huge part of my life, as in I spend the mornings teaching usually.
And you have students coming from far. Remember at the gig we had some...
People come from far. I'm kind of blown away by it. But I take it very seriously in that I want to be able to just share whatever I can and help them in any way I can, So yeah, it's become quite a big part of my life, and I'm happy that I'm doing it. Sometimes I feel I don't know how long, because it's a serious commitment of time.
Yes.
And because I'm so passionate about all these other things, one is to work on my own playing, and the other is to compose and write, which are all demanding kind. These things don't just come, you have to
put in the work.
You have to put in time.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't know how long I can keep doing this, but right now, I've been dedicating my mornings towards teaching, and people, through social media, people they find a way to get to you, and now I think everybody kind of knows that I teach, so it has a life of its own. People just seem to.
And not only guitar players, right?
Yeah, bass players and keyboard players and sometimes drummers. I'm like, why are you coming to me, man? No, that's just a joke. A good musician is a good musician. You can just learn so much from any good musician.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what. It doesn't have to be only your instrument.
Yes. Right. Which is going back to like being around people who play and have seen how things go,
Yeah, one of the things, like when I have a student, I'm always telling them, okay, there's certain things I will guide you with, and give you direction, teach you certain specific things. But along with that, there's two aspects that, the one is very obvious, the fact that you have to spend time at home internalizing,
listening
with Riyaz. Listening, extremely important. and the hanging with other musicians.
Right.
Try to do it as much as you can. I was really lucky that somehow this thing came into my life. Because a lot of times, you come across people who's like, man, how do I do this? I don't, maybe you got to go and hang out where musicians hang out, maybe at clubs where there's performances. You'll always come across musicians, or social media and to get in touch with people, but create a community around you. People who you can hang with and play music with. And if they're better than you, then you're blessed.
Yeah.
That's like the best place to be in. But you got to be a little obsessive about it.
Yeah. Like when I started teaching, there were things that I kind of instinctively knew about playing music because I was around it my whole life and being around the great players. So I had to learn my instrument. But then what I needed to do, I kind of naturally just understood that. And then when I had to teach somebody, I was like, oh, how do we teach this? I never had to learn this. You know what I mean? Because I was around the whole scene. And then it was, in this day and age, the listening is always the most important thing. And like listening, not just like background playing a song, like intent listening. Being around guys, watching them play and, if you can get into a rehearsal, sound check, And in this day and age, social media is a important way to put yourself out there, to connect. But I think still physically being there is very crucial.
Oh, very, very crucial. And, only someone who knows certain things about music can point you, at least, and it'll make you aware, like, hey, check this out. Did you see what the drummer's doing? And that groove, you're supposed to feel it like this,
Yeah.
It's felt in two. If you feel a samba, so I'm just giving an example. But it's certain things that only someone who knows can point out to you, And just hanging around people and seeing how music is put together is enough.
Because we're exposed to so much on Instagram, YouTube and stuff like this. But then being in the room, feeling the air of the bass drum or the guitar amp, it's not the same on a phone. So it's important. Come for gigs.
You're speaking.
That's your camera.
Come for gigs.
So thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you. Thank you, Gino, for having me here.
And we're going to be playing a lot of gigs coming up with all the projects.
Gigs coming up, and I'm extremely excited about all of them. So I hope we can see you guys in some of these gigs.
Come say hi.
Come say hi. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Sanjay.
All right. Thank you, Gino.
Thank you.